Breaking tonight, more than 3,000 British travelers have been barred from entering Europe, and it could soon affect you. Thousands of passengers are stranded in airports across the United Kingdom after being denied boarding on flights to Finland. Not because of terrorism or a pandemic, but because of a new digital border system that few had even heard of. What began in Finland is expected to spread across the entire European Union in the coming months. It is 5 in the morning at Heathrow Terminal 3. Sarah Mitchell, a 34-year-old teacher from Kent, stands at Gate 27 with her 2 children ready to board a flight to Helsinki for her sister's wedding. Her passport is valid, her bags are checked, and everything appears in order until her boarding pass scans red. The screen flashes entry data missing. Confusion sets in. Airline staff have no answers. Within minutes, the gate closes and the flight is cancelled. There is no explanation, no solution, only chaos. Sarah is far from alone. Across London, Manchester, Edinburgh, and Birmingham, the same story is unfolding. Business executives are missing key meetings. University students cannot reach their study programs. A retired couple who sold their home for a new life in Lapland now find themselves stranded in a budget hotel near Gatwick. One traveler told Sky News, "They said my passport was not linked to something called EES. I have never even heard of it." EES stands for Entry-Exit System, the European Union's newly introduced digital border control network designed to track every non-EU traveler entering the Schengen zone. In theory, it is straightforward. Before traveling, passengers must pre-register biometric data, fingerprints, facial scans, and passport details, all uploaded to a central European database. Officials say the goal is to improve security, streamline border crossings, and modernize travel across the continent. On paper it sounds efficient, but in practice it has become a bureaucratic nightmare. Most British travelers had no idea that registration was mandatory. Airlines were not briefed, border staff were not trained, in Finland, the first country to fully enforce the new rule, did so with almost no warning. What was meant to be a technological upgrade has instead turned into a logistical disaster, trapping thousands of ordinary people in airports without recourse. Spain, Greece, France, Italy, Portugal, every member state is preparing to follow. If Finland's early enforcement is any indication, millions of British holidaymakers could face similar disruption by next summer. Picture a family trip to Spain booked months in advance, annual leave approved, hotels paid, only to be turned away at Gatwick because biometric data failed to sync. This is not a theoretical risk, but a live operational reality. Behind the headlines are people, not statistics. Lucy Walker, a 29-year-old nurse from Bristol, was due to be a bridesmaid at her best friend's wedding in Helsinki. She told reporters through tears that she had saved for months, bought the dress, and secured time off, only to be left at Heathrow at 6 in the morning with no answers, no refund, and no way to reach the ceremony. She missed it and was absolutely heartbroken. There is more. Gareth Thompson, a software engineer from Manchester, spent over $600 on emergency hotels and taxis trying to reroute through Sweden, only to learn that it would not help. At the airport, staff struggled to explain the basics. What is EES, and when will guidance arrive? Supervisors had no clear answers. The question follows naturally: how can a system be enforced if those tasked with implementing it do not understand it? Social media is filled with similar accounts. A retired couple who sold their Cornwall cottage for a new life in Lapland are now stranded. University students are missing their study placements in Helsinki, risking the loss of a semester. Families cannot reach funerals, and workers are missing critical meetings. Public anger is not directed solely at Finland or officials in Brussels. Increasingly, it is aimed at the UK government for failing to protect British citizens from foreseeable disruption. One caller to LBC captured the mood, saying Brexit was sold as taking back control and restoring sovereignty, but today it feels like the opposite. British passengers are unable to board flights without the permission of an EU database. What was the point? It is a sharp question, and ministers will be expected to answer it. Where does responsibility lie? Finland's Ministry of the Interior issued a carefully worded statement saying Finland is implementing the EU entry-exit system as required by European law. All third-country nationals, including UK citizens, must comply, and proper protocol has been followed. The subtext is clear. This is Brussels' framework, not Helsinki's departure from it. The European Commission has echoed that position, noting that the United Kingdom was formally informed about EES timelines months ago through official diplomatic channels. British diplomats, however, tell a different story, saying Finland moved earlier than other member states, triggering avoidable confusion and knock-on disruption at UK airports. An unnamed EU source speaking to Politico Europe called it an unfortunate misunderstanding, stressing that member states retain discretion over implementation schedules and promising that the UK will be properly updated going forward. In practice, that reads as a familiar Brussels shrug: diffuse accountability, no apology, and limited urgency. Crucially, some EU countries appear to have learned from Finland's experience. Spain, Greece, and France have delayed their own enforcement to avoid a public-facing debacle. Finland pressed ahead and is now at the center of an international blame game, with thousands of travelers left as collateral. Politically, this is awkward territory for the Prime Minister. Keir Starmer came to office promising competence, stability, and professionalism after years of conservative turbulence. He pledged to make Brexit work, rebuild trust with the European Union, and improve cooperation without rejoining. Yet the images now circulating of Britons physically blocked from flights, airport staff unable to explain new checks, and a UK government scrambling for answers undercut that promise of calm control. Even some Labour backbenchers, privately at least, are voicing frustration. The core issue is not merely administrative but constitutional and political. It concerns how Britain interfaces with EU systems that affect British citizens' daily lives without the leverage that came with membership. EES is a test of that relationship, and as events suggest, a test of the government's ability to anticipate change, communicate clearly, and protect the travelling public from the sharp edges of new bureaucracy. One senior Labour MP put it bluntly in a private comment to The Guardian, saying, "We simply cannot keep being surprised by EU policy changes." He added, "If we genuinely want a close partnership with Europe, that requires proper diplomatic coordination and communication." It is a damning observation, and one that captures the fundamental contradiction at the heart of Sir Starmer's Europe strategy. The Prime Minister wants closer cooperation with Brussels, but without formal alignment. The European Union, for its part, expects compliance with its systems, yet offers none of the privileges that come with membership. The result is a relationship defined by ambiguity. And when ordinary British citizens pay the price for that confusion, it becomes political dynamite. So what happens next? The Foreign Office has launched emergency talks with both Brussels and Finnish authorities. Airlines are demanding compensation for cancelled flights and stranded passengers. Travel industry groups are calling for urgent clarity before the summer holiday season begins. But the issue is already expanding far beyond the immediate chaos. The entry-exit system, together with its companion visa waiver scheme, will soon become mandatory across the entire European Union. Starting next year, tens of millions of British travellers could face delays, data mismatches, and boarding denials if the systems fail to synchronize properly.